Hey there folks, John here from Biddy Kong's Quest, and a lot of you guys have reached out to ask where I've been because it's been forever since we actually posted a new video to the channel. And just to give you guys an idea of where I've been at, I work on film sets, and so sometimes I may get a gig that takes me away for 6 weeks or so, you know, which is exactly what happened just recently. But I'm back and I have gotten a lot of pickups while I've been gone. So there's a lot of stuff to cover, so we're gonna do this a little bit differently than I normally do pickup videos because I got some footage of the actual stores that I went to while I was there. So I'm gonna go through the pickups that I got, which there are quite a few of them, and then also tell you a little bit about the stores where they came from and maybe drop in a few collecting tips as we go. So here we go. Okay, we have a lot of stuff to cover, but just to give you guys an idea, the shoot that I was on was down in Georgia, and so a lot of the stuff that I stopped at was either on the way down or on the way up. And there was a lot of different stops. So now this pickup video is going to include not only stuff that I picked up on my trip, but I actually did pick up a few things you know, before and after the trip as well. So again, this is like 2 months worth of pickups, and I'm going to show you the footage of where I got the stuff to, so you guys will get a good idea. But to start things off, have you ever wondered why Goodwill only ever has like sports games and like Just Dance and like, you know, really bottom of the barrel kind of games? Now obviously you can get some good deals. You know, I did get that Stunt Racer 64 at a Goodwill one time, but that's really just because nobody really thought it had any value because nobody knew what it was. But you don't usually find like Mario games or anything like that at Goodwills, and the reason why is because they're all sent to one of two places. When a good game comes into a Goodwill store, then it will either go up on shopgoodwill.com, which if you don't know about that site, you can get some really good deals there. But if it doesn't go on to shopgoodwill.com, what will happen is it'll get sent to one of a few different stores that they have around the country. And that store is called The Grid. Now, The Grid takes all of the stuff that comes into Goodwill that they think is going to sell for a decent amount of money. And now, this is a lot of times stuff like that's got some brand name recognition, like Mario games, Mega Man games, you know, that sort of thing. That they already know at a glance, hey, you know, this is the stuff that really shouldn't be in a Goodwill store. We're going to send it to The Grid so we can charge more money for it. So you can see they've got a ton of stuff. They have, you know, some systems. They have games from like, you know, pretty much every system as well. And there's just a whole lot going on here. Now, I didn't find anything I was really looking for specifically at The Grid this time around. I do stop by. I stopped by the one in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I do stop by every time I go through. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes I get something good. This time I didn't really get a whole lot. I did pick up Super Scribblenauts, which is something I'm trying to get the Scribblenauts games. One, because I didn't own them, and I had a lot of fun with them when I was younger. But two, you know, my son loves to draw, my oldest, and I know that he'll get a lot out of these. And he's at the point now where he can read as well. Now, if you don't know what Scribblenauts is, it's a really fun game series where you basically have, you're put in a room full of enemies or whatever it is, and you have to solve a puzzle to finish the level. And to solve those puzzles, you actually type words with the DS's touchscreen, and it's got an incredibly large dictionary because it will pretty much spawn whatever it is that you type into the game for you to use to solve the puzzle. And that's like animals, you could spawn in weapons, you could spawn in all kinds of stuff. I think the later ones even, you can even spawn in DC superheroes like Superman and that sort of thing. So really cool series. This is the only one that I picked up though from that store, and you know, everything else, you know, I just kind of left behind. Obviously I'm trying to get 3DS games, you guys know that, but they didn't really have any 3DS games I was interested in. So that was The Grid, and now we'll move on to the next store, which was also in North Carolina. And that one is called McKay's Bookstore. Now, if you've never heard of McKay's, this place is amazing. They have just this gigantic warehouse, and I think the original one's in Nashville. I've been there too, and that one's even bigger than this one. But warehouses full of books and video games and movies and TV series. There's just an absolute ton of stuff here. If you've never been to a McKay's Books, check it out. See if there's one near you. I mean, they're mostly on the East Coast from what I understand, but they're really, really, really awesome. And I did pick up quite a few games from there too. Nothing huge, but there's quite a few. First off, I got the original Scribblenauts, which you'll see actually come back again, and I kind of already went off on Scribblenauts, how much I like that. Drawn to Life, which is another really cool, just regular DS game, and this one was $2.45, and this original Scribblenauts was $1.45. You can see that prices are pretty good. I also got Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain for the Xbox One, which surprisingly I have not played this one. This is the only Metal Gear that I haven't played. I was waiting to get it for a good deal, and I think this one was $7.95. And I like to keep the prices of my games, whatever I paid for them, somewhere in the case, just so I know years later what I actually paid for the game. Because some games, that I paid $9.99 for, ended up being worth several $100s, later on down the road. Or a good example is, again, that Stunt Racer 64 that I referred to earlier. I got it for $5.99 at Goodwill, and it's a $300 game, so actually I think it's worth more now. But anyways, I like to keep the prices on my games because I like that reference for, whatever it is that they cost. And I think that's kind of one of the fun parts of collecting for me. But anyway, so Metal Gear Solid 5, not too exciting, but something I didn't have. Trying to upgrade my 3DS library. I got Lego Batman 3. The Lego games are fun. This one's kind of more for my kids than me, but it was only $6, and for a 3DS game right now, that's actually pretty cheap. 3DS games are really going up. Now we've got the original Scribblenauts, which again I had over there, and I actually made a couple different trips to McKay's. I got the loose one first, and then I found this one in the case, and I believe it was $3.95, so $1 more, $1.50 more than the original was. But I got the case and I got the book and everything, and it's all in really good shape, so that's pretty good. And then I got De Blob 2. If you've never played the De Blob series of games, I think they originated on the Wii, and they are still around. I think they actually just re-released one of them, maybe both of them, for the Switch. And totally worth playing. Really interesting platformers where you're basically changing the color of the environment around you to solve puzzles and that sort of thing. I had never played the DS version, so I figured that was worth checking out, and I'm pretty sure it was pretty cheap as well. This one was $2.95. So again, pretty cheap and a nice fun little game. $3 is probably about what it's worth, so that's fine. But this one is a fun one. You should check it out. And then I also picked up from McKay's, my last couple purchases were Galaxian and Kicks for the Atari 2600. Not 2600. 5200. I have an Atari 5200 in box. It was actually my dad's, and it's actually, that one's pretty important to me because my first real video game memory is of my dad playing Pac-Man on his Atari 5200, and we would go to his office at work, and there would be nothing to do except for basically play that Atari 5200 that he had, and he really only had Pac-Man. So I'm kind of on my way to trying to get a full Atari 5200 collection, which really is not that big of a collection to begin with. But whenever I see them, I pick them up. I paid $6.95 for each of these, which is about the market rate for them. I mean, it might even be $1 more than they're worth. But these things had really, really, really clean labels, and that's really kind of hard to find with Atari stuff. For some reason, Atari stuff, I don't know if it's just because video games weren't as valued then, or what, but Atari stuff, whenever you find it, tends to be in like really rough shape, like really, really rough shape. So to find those and have them be super clean like that, was totally worth it to me. And those were about all of my finds for McKay's. Now, next we're gonna move out of North Carolina and actually go into South Carolina. And I actually stopped at 2 different stores in Seneca, South Carolina. The first one was called the Play Nest, and this one was a little hole-in-the-wall place. I mean, you know, real small store. And honestly, I was pretty impressed with the amount of stuff that they had in there, and the prices were pretty good too. And they had a little collectibles and stuff kind of in the middle of the store, and then they had a bunch of stuff around the outside. They had this really cool collection of Odyssey 2 boxes, which you don't see a whole lot. And so they had some actual, you know, decent stuff in there for being such a small store. Now, I picked up a couple things while I was there. First off, I went ahead and picked up this little Boo figure because I thought he was cool looking. And, you know, he was just sitting there on the table, and they actually sell these guys in Walmart right now, so it wasn't that big of a pickup, but, you know, I kind of wanted him just to have there sitting on my desk. And then the interesting one, the exciting one, was totally rad. And so I saw this through the window of the little game display case. It was right in the front. It didn't look like it was in great shape. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of a rip kind of on the side of the label here. You know, the label's a little ripped up there. It's a little discolored. You know, it's not in the best shape. But I did see the price tag on this thing, which I don't know if you guys can see, is $19. Which for this game is actually pretty cheap, because this game usually goes for around 35 or 40, and I had been looking for it. I hadn't had it yet. And you know, if you've never played this game, it's kind of this janky little platformer that actually has really good graphics, and I think it's actually a translation of a Famicom game that has nothing to do with, you know, this cover image or anything like that. And I don't remember what the original Famicom game is. But it's an interesting little game, and I knew that what I was looking at was worth more than what they were asking, even in the condition that it's in. And then I picked it up, and I heard a rattle inside. And now you can see there's no rattle that you can hear now. That's because there's a little capacitor on this board in here. And if you've ever seen any of my retro restoration videos where I open up the carts and I, you know, look at the boards inside, there's a little capacitor at the top. And so that had just broken off and it was rattling around. And so I picked it up, and the guy heard it. He's like, I don't feel right charging you full price for that, because it was rattling around. So we stuck it in a machine. It didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, I actually repair stuff. And you know, I would still, you know, I'll still buy it. You know, if you can take some off. And he said, you know what, dude, like, I don't feel right selling you something that's broken and we can't fix it here. So just, you know, just take it. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, this guy, you know, was first of all honest to, you know, test it out and then see if it works. And then second of all, you know, he knew that he couldn't do anything about it, so he was just going to give it to somebody that he knew could. So now I have Totally Rad, which is one that's been on my list for a little while. And that's just, you know, a good reason to learn to do some of this repair stuff yourself. Get a soldering iron. They're real cheap. And just learn to solder, because this fix took me, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes just to fix a capacitor back on here. And by the way, I didn't buy a capacitor for this. I just pulled another capacitor off of a game that was dead for another reason and just soldered that on, and boom, it works really, really well. So collecting games is really expensive right now. Prices are through the roof, you know, because of stimulus. People have money to spend, or just because the market is high, or whatever you want to say. Prices of games are really, really high right now. One of the ways that you can pull that down and make collecting reasonable is by learning to repair some stuff and going after some stuff that, you know, may not be in as good of a shape as, you know, something you would get off of eBay or something like that, you know, if that's even legit what you get off of eBay. You know, it's one way that you can collect and still not break the bank. So in this case, getting a $35 game for nothing, just because I knew how to repair it, was total win. Okay, so now we're getting into the big stuff. And one of the big collecting regrets I have from, you know, my childhood, because most of the games behind me are from my childhood collection, is that a few of my games got lost somewhere along the line. One of those was my copy of Adventure Island 3. And I still have the box. This is the box. I got it from the store because I absolutely love the Adventure Island series. And, you know, if you've seen my opening intro from my videos, I think you know, it's pretty obvious from that. But I absolutely love the Adventure Island series. I bought this new, you know, when I was a kid, and then I lent my copy of the game to someone else, and I honestly don't even remember who I lent it to. You know, I was probably 11, 12 years old and didn't keep track of it as much as I should have, and so all I had was the box, and I've kept the box with me all these years. Well, now I finally have a game to go with the box. And I've been waiting for the right deal on this one. This is one that I've had a chance to pick up a few times, but, you know, for one reason or another, either the label was bad or something else, you know, it didn't have a chance to pick up. And I went into another video game store in Seneca, and that one was actually called Computers Plus. It didn't even have games in the title. I asked the guy at the Play Nest if there was anything else in the area that had games, and he was like, yeah, you should check out Computers Plus down the way. Now on Google, it doesn't even come up as a video game store. I went in here, and this was a really, really, really awesome store. This Adventure Island 3 was one of the first things I saw, and when I saw it was only 50 bucks, which is about $20 below market value. I knew that that was the first thing I was going to buy. But then I looked around the store a little more, and there's a lot of different stuff in there. A lot of cool, you know, Game Boy games, and really stuff from just about every system. They had a huge Super Nintendo selection as well. But I looked around the store, and then I saw something else that caught my eye. And that was these two little Game Boy Mega Man games. Now, if you don't know anything about the Game Boy Mega Man games, they are really, really, really awesome. And if you ever see one, you should definitely try to pick it up if you're a Mega Man fan, because somehow they were able to really recreate the Mega Man experience on a little screen without really any compromises whatsoever. It feels and it plays like Mega Man games, and honestly, the music is some of the absolute best in the entire series. So totally, totally worth checking out. So when I saw this in the store, I saw they had Mega Man 3 and then Mega Man 4 for $25 and then $50 respectively. Now, Mega Man 3 generally sells for, you can probably find it for $25 if you really look for a good auction, but it generally sells more in the range of like $50. But the real steal was Mega Man 4, because this game, I got it for $50. It usually sells for between $125 and like $150. So this was a huge, huge, huge deal that I was able to get this game for $50. And you can see there's the tag right there. But this is was a huge, huge find. This is probably the biggest find in the whole video because this was way, way, way underpriced. And even when I went to check out, the guy was like, yeah, you know, this one's a little underpriced. And I said, yeah, I know. And he's like, I'll just give it to you. But yeah, I mean, this was a huge deal. If you've never seen any of these Mega Man games, you really need to check them out, especially if you're a fan of the series. So now the only one that I'm missing is Mega Man 5, which is the rarest of all of them, and actually has unique robot masters that are not in any of the other Mega Man games, and is really a really awesome game. But games are not all I've picked up over the last couple months. I've actually picked up a couple of consoles as well. And the first one of these was the Hyperkin Retron 1 AV system. And this is just an AV out. It doesn't have HDMI or anything like that. Hyperkin NES clone console. And I saw this because Matthew, who is part of John Riggs' Facebook chat that I'm part of, that we have for, I think he offers it to Patreons, but I've been a part of the chat for several years now. And Matthew, one of the guys in it, posted a link that Amazon had these guys for $14.99, I think, or maybe $13.99. But anyways, it was like $14-15, which, to me, for something that looks this cool, I actually really love this color scheme, and it's got some good components in it that maybe I can use for a mod project or something like that. That was worth it to me. I'm thinking about putting modding a Famicom board and putting that in here because the quality of this thing is definitely worth about $15. The picture quality is not bad, but the audio is absolutely awful. It's extremely overmodulated and extremely distorted. But again, for the price, you know, this was worth it to me as a mod project. In addition to the controller that comes with it, which is actually like a really legit controller. It's actually one of my favorite NES controllers from a third-party company. So it was kind of worth it for the controller alone, to be honest. But you know, I got a really cool system out of it that I can do some mod work to, and you know, hopefully turn it into something really awesome down the road. The next thing I got was something that I had been looking for and waiting for a really long time, and that is the Analog Super NT. And this is one of those things that, you know, if you know anything about analog, if you've seen my other video on the Analog NT Mini Noir, that whole history video that was a really long thing that I did, definitely go watch it if you haven't. You know, it was a ton of fun to make. You'll know that I'm a fan of Analog's products, not necessarily their business practices or the way they communicate with their customers, but their products are generally pretty good. And I've been waiting for the Super NT for a long time, especially to pair with my Super Game Boy 2 and be able to speed run Game Boy games accurately through that sort of thing and just go straight into my Elgato HD through HDMI. So this is one of those things that I've been waiting for a long time. So these actually came on sale, I think mid-April, while I was in Georgia, while I was on set, while I was at work, and I was able to snag one. You know, they were only on sale for like 15 minutes, but I was able to get through the lines and beat the bots and whatever, and get one. Now, just FYI, I think a lot of bots actually bought these and then the people weren't able to unload them. So you can actually get these for pretty close to what the retail price is on eBay right now, secondhand, kind of like you can with the NT Mini Noir. It doesn't seem like Analog products are really getting scalped that badly right now. So if you're in the market for one of those, this is actually probably a really good time to go after that. But anyways, I got the Super NT. I'm really happy that I was able to, and I've been playing it a ton. It's great to be able to just take this right upstairs and hook it straight into my my HD TV upstairs, and not have to drag my Super Nintendo and a converter and everything else up there. But this has been really great, so that's my one of my other big pickups. But that's not the last one. The last one is actually the thing that I'm probably the most excited about, and it's not even a game or a console. It's this guy, and this is the RetroTink 5X Pro. Now these things went on sale and they were, again, only available for about 10 minutes or so before they all sold out. But I already knew that I had wanted to get something like this. Now these things cost, I think it was $275 for this. And if you don't know what this is an upscaler, but it's actually a line doubler, or really line multiplier, since it goes up to 5 times, and actually 6 times in certain resolution modes. But this is basically something that you plug in a retro console, either by S-Video or component or even composite. The green doubles as a composite jack. And then it outputs HDMI and upscales it all cleanly. And this is the first FPGA solution, as far as I know, in terms of upscalers. And man, let me tell you, this thing is amazing. You know, it does cost $275. It is expensive, but it is really awesome. And I highly recommend this as like the scaler to get if you really want to use your original consoles and have them look the best they possibly can on flat screen TVs or for streaming. You know, one of the big reasons I do this is for video capture, for these videos that I do. I do a lot of videos where, you know, I need high quality capture for archival purposes or whatever, so that I can do these big history videos. This is a huge help. And just to be clear, prior to having this, and I haven't used this in any videos yet, or you haven't seen any of the ones that I've used. Prior to this, I had been using the RetroTink 2X, which this is actually the first model that they had. And I have absolutely loved it. I'm keeping this one just as my backup in case I need to do 2 systems or something like that. But this thing has actually absolutely been amazing. This thing is the upgraded version, and man, I can't tell you how excited I am. And all the video that's been captured, all the gameplay footage that's been captured for this video has been scaled through this adapter, through this scaler. So you can see kind of the quality of what we're working with. And I'm really excited, you know, to have this one. And I'm actually going to do a full video review with a little bit of history about Mike Chi and what's gone into this thing, because this thing is, you know, it's been a long road for really scalers in general. And I think we really are kind of getting into the golden age of upscaling old systems and having them look great on modern displays. All right, so that's about it for this video. Hopefully this was a really fun way to do this. You know, I usually do shorter pickup videos, and this is a bit of a longer one with some tips thrown in there, so hopefully that was useful to you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you all next time.